And it's good to be back, yeah. For take 2.
We know we're recording. We know we got volume. We're in a good place.
We're in a better place than unfortunately Mr. Dikembe Mutombo and P. Rose. I'm gonna start there because I'd rather start down and bring us up later with football and other things we're talking about. But we can't help but start here. 2 legends. I mean, the finger wag. That's legendary right there. If you were a basketball player, you know the finger wag and you know where it came from.
No.
And I mean, he was a really fun player to watch. I mean, that was back in the day of the big man. That was back in the days of the centers of Olajuwon and Ewing and Alonzo Mourning. And that was 90s basketball. And he was arguably easily a top 10 guy, in that span. I would say as a center.
Oh yeah, he wasn't a dominant scorer, but defense, rebound, very few players had the guts to actually drive at Dikembe and try to go over him. You usually try to avoid Dikembe at any chance that you had. And look, as a player, he was a really, really, really good player. But as a person, he was
even better.
Talking about being in a better place, I'd like to believe that he is in a better place than any of us are currently right now.
I agree with that,
man. So the things he did for the international basketball community, specifically in the Congo and the areas that he originated from. I saw a story today about this one kid that he flew in from the Congo to the U.S., so that the kid could have a tumor removed, which, if the tumor wasn't removed, it would have grown to the point where it would have killed the child. And instead, he flew him to the U.S., paid for his surgery, paid for his flight, paid for everything, and got that kid the surgery, and saved that kid's life. And wherever that kid is, I didn't. That's awesome. I saw it at work, so I don't have a chance to dig deeper into it, but. God willing, that kid's living a great life and not putting to waste the chance that Dikembe was able to give him. So, and that's just one of hundreds of stories that people can tell you that actually knew him, that were a part of, his day-to-day life and what he did, not only during his playing career, but also what he did after he retired. So, for how much, most people know him for basketball, the things he did off the court far outweighed the things that he did on the court, and I want to make sure that I mention that.
I mean, you kind of summed it up, everything that I could have possibly said, to be honest with you.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, Joey.
I know,
That's why
bro,
they pay me the big bucks. What can I say?
No, but again, growing up with him, the big finger wag was awesome. We all remember growing up doing that and blocking people. I think Jordan dunked on him. It was one of the last few people he didn't dunk on, and when he did, he gave him the finger, right?
Oh, yeah, you got the video. They play it
year 9 or something. I saw the story today,
Yeah, they play the video every now and then of him and Dikembe sitting in the training room before an all-star game, and Dikembe looks at him, he's like, you never dunked on me, and Jordan's like, yeah, and apparently, he never did, so Jordan found that out, and later in the season, made it a point to dunk on him, and then did the back pedal while looking at Dikembe and gave him the finger. I'm sure Jordan's a guy that, was probably hit by this as well as basically anybody in the NBA
sure the basketball
including a lot of the young guys. A lot of teams are getting back and doing their media days and their picture days and all that stuff. And, some of these younger guys talk about the influence that Dikembe had on him. So he's generational. He's not just, a 90s guy. He was a generational guy on and off the court.
Nicely put, Dave.
Absolutely. And I can't say it any better. I don't know if Joey could say it any better. So
it's because I got a tan today. I'm feeling eloquent.
So we're going to unfortunately move on to the next sad one. That's Pete Rose, who
all-time.
I think part of what is extra tragic about this is greatest hitter of all time, leads the league still in hits. Nobody's even close. Nobody's going to break. That's one of those records that's like Cal Ripken said. I don't know if it's going to be broke.
Ever going to be broke.
It's so hard to do. He was that good a hitter for so long, and he's not in the Hall of Fame because of gambling, which I get, but at the same time now, every single broadcast
Here we are 40
of
years later.
of every game out there is sponsored by DraftKings or FanDuel or ESPN Bet or William Penn or one of the other, any one of them. Everybody's sponsored by a gambling site now. Hell, Ohtani at the beginning of the goddamn.
That's right.
Like,
Dude, I forgot about that already.
You know,
when that guy does 50 and 50 and something
almost
like
did
that,
60 and
it's
60.
really easy to forget about something like that.
It's not easy
60.
though, because I mean he's a guy who he bet on baseball. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way his trainer, who only made $85,000 a year, was able to rack up a $42 million gambling debt. Or whatever it was, or whatever they sold, and then apparently only stole $16 million or $24 million, whatever it wasn't even the full amount that was owed back to. All the math doesn't math there. I'm sorry, they're trying to bury this story, and they've done a good job of it, but at the same time, then do right by Pete Rose and let him in.
I'm with you on that.
If you're gonna let Ohtani skate the way you're letting him skate, and letting this other guy take the fall, and you know it's all been watched. Do you even know what that guy's sentence was? I have no idea. Nobody's even paid attention since.
I think he went to jail for a couple years, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe not. Who knows? Good behavior. He's out in 6 months. Who knows? You know what I mean? And back on Ohtani's payroll. It let Pete Rose in, but the sad part is he's never going to be able to see himself in now.
That to me, that's so sad,
is
man.
the saddest part. Once you let gambling in the game, once you started getting sponsored by these companies,
you should have let him in.
You have to let him in at that point. It's like saying we no longer test for steroids. Well, then guess what? You got to let all the steroid guys in.
Yep.
That's what you do. That's the right thing to do.
I'm honestly with you on this.
And to me, it pains me that he's not in there. And I'm not even, listen, I'm not a Cincinnati Red fan. I'm sitting here as a proud Yankee fan.
And we didn't even grow up during his time.
We did not grow up during his time. He was pre-us.
But he was that good where, damn, man.
We all know about
We all know
Charlie
him.
Hustle.
Yep.
The Hit King. He did it for so long, too. I mean, the guy was a career, I think, like
303 hitter.
Yeah, but I mean, from both sides of the plate, he was damn near 300. He was like 310 or something like that from the right side or something like that, and like 294 or something from the left, somewhere in that nature on both sides. Like, I might have it wrong which way or the other. But, I mean, unbelievable from both sides of the plate. It's just, to me, that's the tragedy. It's sad that he passed away, but the tragic part is that he never got to experience the Hall of Fame, and you can't have a baseball Hall of Fame without
the all-time hit.
Without the guy who leads the league all-time in hits.
Now,
sorry.
The only counter to what you're saying about him not being in the Hall, I think a lot of people will say he is in the Hall of Fame. They have his bat probably in the Hall of Fame. He just doesn't have a plaque in the Hall of Fame.
Give the man his respect.
I'm
Give
with
him
you,
his due.
I'm with you. As soon as they have started taking sponsorships from any of these betting places, gotta let him in. However, I think he gets in now. Now that he's passed,
but does it even matter now?
I think it still matters.
It's almost a slap in the face now. Like, here, you're gone now. Go ahead, put the plaque up.
It is a slap in the face,
like
dude.
they're happy to see him gone.
But
I'm sorry, that to me is wrong.
You can't tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose. Just how I think you can't tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, McGuire. They all deserve to be in there. They all do.
The older I get, the more I agree with you. Again, if you want to put an asterisk, if you want to say something I don't care. If you want to add it to the plaque of, like, you know what, did test positive or whatever, or during the steroid era, or block off a block of the, you know, eras and say, like, listen, this era was the, you know, PED era, or the, you know, the enhanced era, whatever they want to manipulate it to be, you know, but at least give those guys their due, because again,
they definitely deserve
it. At the same, they do in a way, you know. It's absolutely crazy that we're again 40-something years later and he still is not in the Hall of Fame, and that to me, again, at least these steroid guys, they haven't been waiting that long.
Correct.
Bonds, those guys, you want to make them wait a certain
Pete Rose
period.
deserved to be in first, and then you can talk about the other guys.
You want to put a 25-year wait period on guys that tested positive. You want to put something else.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm cool
all
with
for
that.
some type of, but again, there should be something like that. This is why I think
I'm kind of interested.
People need
that's
to
cool.
brainstorm stuff like this, because there's got to be a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Dave, you've been listening. What do you think? Is there a better way to do this? Like, do you think he belongs in? Do you think guys of Bonds and these guys belong in now? Do you think that they should have a certain wait period? How do you feel about all of this in general?
If we're staying specifically around Pete Rose, really quick, what I will say is this. Gambling or not gambling, right? You don't get as many hits as a guy like he got. By gambling can't impact that. Like, he's not going to the casino putting down, $100 grand.
No, he was, I guess, the manager. He was a manager
okay.
When he was
so then put Pete Rose, the player, in.
He swears he never bet against his team.
But either way, right? Like, you can't.
Pete Rose, a player.
Like, to me, right? Like, steroids, right? Gives you it's a performance enhancing drug. It increases your ability to perform. Gambling does not increase your ability to perform. If anything, it puts you in a less likely position to perform. Even if you bet on yourself to say, I'm going to go 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs tonight. I know that's not something somebody might bet on. But let's say you bet on that, right? All you're doing by gambling on yourself is putting more pressure on yourself. You're not helping anybody. Nobody, the pitcher on the other team, can't help you. Like, if they throw a little lofter, everybody's going to know something's freaking up. So they're going to have to throw the 85, 95, 100-mile-an-hour pitch at you. So
back then it was like 90. So
no matter how you look at it, the gambling on games, is it right? No. Should it be done? No. But should it be the mark that stops a guy that holds the MLB hit record from being into the Hall of Fame, a guy that's won World Series titles, a guy that's, I believe, has a World Series MVP? Like, none of these things can be impacted by gambling on the game. Now, as a manager, all right, I get it. Maybe you're changing your lineup, maybe you're doing this, maybe you're doing that, right? I could see the anger and frustration towards the beautiful game of baseball. I get it. But fine. Then put him in the Hall, but say we're putting him in the Hall strictly for what he did as a player, nothing for what he did as a manager, and move the hell on.
There's got to be a compromise, right? There has to be. And what should have happened is this should have happened while he was still alive.
Yes. Agreed. But the steroid guys, I don't care about them not being in simply due to the fact that they got an unfair advantage against the guys that they played against. That is a difference, right? That what you did impacted your ability to go out and perform and gave you an advantage over the people you were competing against, along with the other guys on your roster. I don't have a problem with people that got caught doing steroids, right? They always say, right? Like, I think about football when I think about this, right? Because don't tell me there weren't other guys doing steroids, right? They just happened to just not be as good as the guys that got caught, right?
100%.
So, like, if neither one did steroids, guess what? That guy would be in the Hall of Fame. The other guy wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Either way. I think about it when, like, you watch a football game, right? And the one guy shoves the other guy pretty aggressively or hits him in the face or whatever. But it's the guy that retaliates that gets the penalty. Every single time. It's never the guy that throws the first punch. So, to me, it's the same. It's very similar when you look at the guys that did steroids in baseball. These are the guys that got caught. There are guys that didn't get caught. The guys that got caught that are Hall of Fame caliber are being penalized. The guys that didn't get caught that are Hall of Fame level are going to get into the Hall of Fame if they didn't already. That, to me, that's the difference there. They got caught. There's no other way to put it. So I don't feel bad for them. The Pete Rose thing, put him in as a player. Don't acknowledge him as a manager. I'm sure his family and even him would have been more than okay with that, and that could have been done 20 freaking years ago.
Yeah. I can't
eloquent today, bro. I'm just boom, eloquent. For anybody that's watching or listening, just don't expect this from me on a weekly basis. I'm just feeling the skin tone right now. I don't look pearly white.
You don't look pearly white.
I just keep looking at the camera. I'm like, oh, who's that guy? Kind of good looking over there.
Well, I guess I'm going to transition us now next to our next topic and to kind of go with something before we get into anything football here. I know we're looking at some baseball stuff. We're seeing Royals up. Tigers beat the Astros. Nice.
Royals won 1-0. Tigers won 3-1 over the Astros. Playoffs started today. Crazy game last night with a doubleheader between the Mets and the Braves, which got them both in the playoffs today. And
oh man, I lived.
Mets are up 8-4, and then the Braves play tonight
at 8:30. I lived through a group text message chat that I have with like Joey and Justin, like all my all my boys from for the freaking years and years and years. And like I'm working, and like yesterday was one of those days. I think all told, including that lunch hour, all told I had 45 minutes on my calendar that wasn't scheduled. So I had no time to actually load up the score, stream it on my work computer while I was, working or whatever. So every time, like, my phone just vibrating. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So at first, I didn't even know the game was happening. I completely forgot. What's going on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? And all of a sudden, I'm reading the text, and it's like, oh, freaking Mets going to blow it. Down 3-0 already. I'm like, oh, of course it is. So now I'm aware of the game. Maybe an hour goes by, maybe. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, my phone starts vibrating. I'm like, what the hell's going on now? So I look at my phone. 2-run bomb, this, that. All of a sudden, Mets are now up, what was it, 6-3? Or they went up 6-3 or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, shit, that's crazy. The Mets went up 6-3. Good for the Mets. Come on, get that win. Get in the playoffs. I'm thinking of Mike the entire time. Like, that man's emotions live and die with the Mets. More than any other sports team, any other things going on in his life. His life and his emotions revolve around the Mets. So I'm like, come on, do it for Mike. And maybe 20 minutes later, I was like, I look at my phone. Of course, the typical Mets, they blow it. Now they're down 7-6. And I'm like, oh, come on, Mets, don't do this. So, all of a sudden, maybe 20 minutes later again, my phone's going off again. Mets dude hits a 2-run home run. Mets take the lead. I'm like, oh, come on, Mets. So now I'm at the point where I don't close the text message box. I just leave it up. I've got it leaning against my computer, and I'm sitting there and I'm working. Every 2 seconds, my eyes are just glancing down. It took me like 20 minutes to write an email as I'm waiting for the Mets to get 3 outs. Like I was genuine. It was the first time, and I sent it in the text group. First time in my life that I was genuinely envious that I did not get to watch a baseball game. I actually was upset that I didn't get to watch the game.
You just needed to watch the last 2 innings.
But then when I knew that they won and they were in the playoffs, I gave 2 shits about the doubleheader.
You didn't care.
Like, why would I care about that? Like, what does that do?
The last 2 innings were
nuts.
To be
honest, I don't think the Mets really cared about the second game.
No, they didn't
much. I'm sure it would have been nice if they would have been to beat the Braves, but
they should have just said we forfeit so we can celebrate.
Exactly. So, speaking of playoffs, though,
playoffs.
Number 1 player in the world, Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year sensation. Out of the playoffs now completely.
In just 2 games.
And Liberty are facing off against the Aces. So you got, I think, the number 1 seed versus the MVP going on right now. So there's still a little bit of intrigue going on. But, I look at it and I think that the ratings are going to unfortunately dip without Caitlin Clark. And I want to know what you guys think because I still think you're going to see fantastic basketball. What the Liberty have done this season, 32-8. They're, an unbelievably good team. I think and like I said, they're playing Wilson, who just is going to win probably another MVP award.
She already did.
She already won. Already did win the MVP award.
Does anybody know if this is a 5-game series or if this is a 7?
I think it's 5. I believe it is 5.
Okay.
If you click on the tab that says playoffs, it's like 5 to the right. Gotcha. It should give you that.
Yeah, because I think it's 3 in the first round, 5 in the second, and then 7 after.
Yeah, 5 games. Okay. Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Liberty
I
are up 1-0
much
over the
prefer
Aces.
for all sports. By the way, give me a 3-game playoff in other than football, obviously, but in hockey, in basketball, and whatever. I know I'm in the minority here. Everybody loves a 7-game series, but to me, I remember back in the '90s when basketball and I think hockey too. First round was 5 round was 5.
I don't think hockey was, but NBA.
I know the NBA was. So, and I actually liked that. I kind of wish they would go back to that, but they'll.
One year.
No, but by that point it was 7 games.
Oh, it was?
That was the year D. Rose, Noah.
No, bro. I think you went earlier with like Jason Williams was a center. Kerry Kidd, I'm telling you.
I never saw Jordan play live.
Really?
Yeah, I never saw Jordan play in person.
All right, my bad to get us off track.
Yeah, trust me. That's a childhood memory. I could have amnesia. I could have dementia. God forbid either ever happened, but I could have either of those, and I would never forget watching Michael Jordan play basketball live.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't happen.
So
no way. But yeah,
I like the 5-game series.
I'm with you. I like it for basketball for the first round. I like it in baseball. However, baseball, I prefer wild cards.
I don't mind it in hockey, to be honest with you, either.
Just give me 3 games in a row, and that's it. Nah, I don't really like it for hockey. I don't know why.
I mean, I think part of it with hockey, though, is the attrition, right? And I think Fife, I don't know if Fife would agree with this one, but, like, to me, right, I think it's the attrition of it. Like, hockey is such a physical sport, right, that them playing 3 7-game series before they even get to the Stanley Cup, like, it really levels the playing field in a game like hockey. And I think hockey having a 7-game series every round isn't bad at all. I don't think it's bad for really anything other than no, that's a lie. Because most basketball seasons, the 8 has no chance against the 1.
Yeah, it's happened very rarely.
Like in the Western Conference, it's a little more likely for the 8 to have a chance against the 1, but in the East right now, the 8 has no chance against the 1 unless the 1 loses their star player to injury. And if that happens, I don't care if they're playing 3, 5, or 7 games. Nobody's watching the series anymore.
It's true.
That's my thoughts. But we all know the motivating factor, the reason it'll never go back. It's about the money.
Money.
More potential games to be played, mean more ticket sales.
And I think that's why they can't get 7 yet. I don't think I'm talking WNBA. They can't get up to game 7 yet. I don't think they have like the TV rights yet to do that, or like they have the audience, I should say, to be able to bring it in.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark keeps doing what she did this year.
You're not wrong.
It'll change.
You're not wrong.
It'll change.
And to answer your original question, yes, I do think that the playoffs are going to take a hit without Caitlin Clark. She was the #1 reason why the ratings were so high. I hope, though, a lot of people who became regular fans are now going to watch, even though Caitlin Clark is not. I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping the ratings are up because the Liberty are a damn good squad. The Aces are a good squad, too, being last year's champions. And I think they also have Connecticut and Minnesota in the other one.
Yep.
Connecticut's up 1-0. I don't know too much about them. I'm not going to lie. I believe Minnesota was a high-scoring offense. But it should be a fun battle here. I think the Liberty are gonna take the Aces in 4. That's my guess.
Damn, he's dropping predictions.
4.
I'm gonna agree with him. I'm gonna die on that hill with him.
I mean, you can make that 3 of us. I mean, it's probably the only real New York team other than the Mets that I'll pull for. So.
They could be the first New York team in a while since at least, the Yankees in 09? Or, no, the Giants in 11. So that was the last time New York's had a championship, I think, in any sport, no?
I think maybe soccer we've won something. But are we counting that? I guess we got to count it.
If it's MLS, maybe we count it.
If we're counting WNBA, we got to count MLS, so I'm not too sure then. But let's go, Liberty. I'm rooting for you. Give it to the Aces. Screw Asia Wilson. Let's go, Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu.
Yeah.
What I find crazy though, or am I reading that right? No. See, the way they listed on the website throws me the hell off. So it's game 1 was in New York. Game 2 is in New York.
Correct.
3 and 4 in Vegas. Game 5. Okay, so that
it's because game
does
1 they won. So
yeah,
they
so
gave you
This is the second week in a row where the way ESPN lists this just throws me the hell off. ESPN, get your website better formatted. You got the money. Come on,
they got plenty of money.
Apparently they don't, because they're not on FM radio anymore.
Yeah, that threw me for a freaking loop, man.
I don't think they got the money anymore.
But by the way, I've tried to listen to the new station, like at 880. It's just very grainy around here. I don't know why.
Like
it doesn't come in super clear.
What
happened
to
at 1050?
That's what it is.
That's what I said. I said they push people to the app.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't want to ride
radio.
around with the app with my Bluetooth going to the car the whole time. Like I have it for my phone, whatever, but I don't want to use it for that.
I'm with you 100%. So I listen to the fan
I don't get in my car and go, oh my God, let me make sure I set my
ESPN.
I turn on
New
ESPN
York.
radio like on my phone. I go whatever's on the. So I got Sirius. I got whatever in my truck.
hey,
I'm good. I got plenty of stuff to listen
I'm
to.
gonna end up getting there though because I cannot stand the fan. It doesn't matter who's on.
It's bad.
They literally like.
Really, I like Salicata and Brandon Tierney.
They're midday, so I never really get a chance to listen.
And that's
to
all
them.
I listen to because now I'm delivering. So
Every time I can't do the morning at all. That is the biggest waste of time in my mind ever. Like they don't even talk sports 80% of the show. Like they talk sports and then they go on some stupid old man rant that nobody wants to freaking listen to other than the old guys that listen to the freaking show. And then at the end of the day, Tiki Barber to me is the most vanilla person I've ever heard on radio. He has no reflection in his voice.
He's no Craig Carton.
I
love Tiki.
I don't
Giant
like Craig
fan
Carton.
at all. I love Tiki. I respect Tiki.
I like
but
Evan
I agree
Roberts,
with you
I like
that
his
like
partner.
he's not a color guy. Like they lost their color guy. See, Roberts is a straight man. They need the Carton to play off the Roberts.
Carton.
You can't have two Roberts in there.
Get
And that's what
Carton
they
out of
got.
here.
They got two guys that are playing the
It's
same
so
role.
monotone.
Because he's pretty vanilla too, to be honest with you. He's
Like I don't like they
Evan
actually
Roberts
talk
has so
sport.
much passion.
Like
No
they
way,
talk
bro.
sports, but like I just sit there and I'm just like
Tiki's got passion about football, but that's like about it. But I know that's why he was really
I
hired
like
because
soccer too.
Yeah.
The
But
most
anyway,
excited I heard
why are
Tiki
we
get
talking-
today, really quick. I just have to say this because I agree.
No, you're
is,
good.
Like a talk show, like our podcast should not be about talking about talk show, right?
yes.
Let somebody else have that fad podcast. Like by all means, somebody else can do that. But like, he got the most excited because he was traveling somewhere on Thursday.
Probably going to England.
And apparently some musician is playing and he's like, should I go? And I was like, oh my God, he does have a different tone in his voice. I had no freaking clue. I literally was shocked by it. Like, hence why I heard it
he's on one
2.5
of the Housewives,
hours ago,
so I
and
see
it's
him
still in my head.
occasionally on there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, like
His wife's on one of those
No,
shows?
it's not that she is. I guess girlfriend, wife, whatever. I'd have to ask for Janice's help with this one. But from what I've seen, he's around. Like he's a husband or
Are
a
you sure it's
boyfriend
not
of a friend
Rondé?
of.
Are you sure it's not Rondé?
No, it's definitely Tiki, but I think
Okay.
it's like a friend of a housewife's, like whatever. Like, so I don't think he's like directly connected to the show. I could be wrong. He might be directly connected. It might be New York. It could be New
I don't
Jersey.
think they have
I
a
don't
Real
know.
Housewife. I don't know. Amanda watches all
No, they
those
have.
shows.
Oh, so does Janice. I watch. To be honest, I watched the New Jersey one with her sometimes.
my
like
God.
whatever. Well,
I
okay,
don't
we're
know
going
how-
down rabbit
I
holes.
don't know
Like you
how
just
you do
talked
it.
about the
Yeah,
other
we're
shows
going
going
down
down, and now we're going down the same rabbit holes. So
All right, so anyway,
I'm
so
gonna post back to the
All
sports world and something we all should have been watching on Saturday night.
There you go.
And I mean, if you weren't watching this game, I wish I had some like cool intro for it or something. I don't, but
fourth one from your left, Joey. NCAAF.
NCAA. I gotta get some NCAA sounds on the board here. But
To
anyway,
your left, Joey.
speaking of
There
NCAA,
you go.
if you weren't watching Saturday night, I don't know what you were doing. Even Janice was watching with me on Saturday night. That game got crazy. Alabama, Georgia. It was like a playoff game in September. You don't get those games often. It was that kind of atmosphere. You had, I mean, it was an unbelievable crowd. Over 100, and I think 4,000 or 110,000, something like that, people. I mean, an absolutely bonkers game that saw Alabama go up 28-0. So I'm up 30-7 at the half. About to run away with it. I think I even tweeted on the X machine that, I was like, they got to come out just as strong. Bama's got to come out just as strong in the second half because you can't let up. Georgia will find a way. You can't let up. And sure enough, Georgia got that momentum in the second half and didn't let up until they got the lead. But you know what? Held that lead for 13 seconds.
Why? What happened?
75-yard bomb to the freshman.
True freshman, too.
17 years old.
17 years old.
17.
Good Lord, bro.
And he's out there making a catch that anybody in the NBA, if it happened in the NFL, it would be the play of the week in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it'd probably be a top.
It'd
It'd probably be a top. It'd probably be a top.
Two of those catches. The bobbling catch he made, like a couple, like
The
earlier
bobbling catch.
in the game. That bobble catch was absolutely the hand-eye coordination
Yep.
to keep his eye on that, catch it.
I saw that one,
That
and then
one,
I
and then the
saw-
one late in the game. To have
put him up.
But I mean, the spin move, the jukes, this, that. Tell me you are not going to see this kid 3 years from now entering the NFL draft and being a top 10 pick. Easy. Tell me he's not going to be making big catches for a team on Sundays. At only 20 years old, he's not even going to be able to drink, and he's going to be making monster money and big catches in the NFL not far from now.
Wasn't Juju like that? Juju Smith? Wasn't he like 20 in the NFL doing his thing?
I honestly don't remember, but also at this point, he's almost he's almost retired, so that lets you know how long ago Juju started in the league. So I can't say I remember that, but
that's crazy. Yeah. 17 years old.
I mean, unbelievable.
And to have big catches like that too, coming in the clutch. That's
6 catches, 177 and a touchdown. What he's been able to do over his first few games is unreal. And this is while he's got the Heisman Trophy leading candidate, Jalen Milroe.
Do you guys even have a running back? Milroe is just unbelievable.
He's kind of like, he's as good as any running back in the nation, honestly, and he can throw. Like, he's the quarterback Dave hates. Is he Lamar? He's literally the prototypical Dave hates this kind of quarterback.
So he's a running back playing quarterback.
Exactly.
Okay, he's Jalen Hurts. I was going to say, because Lamar does the same thing where he can run, but he can actually has 70% pass accuracy.
And the biggest thing, too, is Lamar is very good at not turning over the ball. That's my biggest knock on Jalen Hurts. And we'll dive in. I'm sure we'll touch on the Eagles when we get there. But, look, that catch wouldn't have been just top play of the week. That would have been one of the top 10 plays of the entire NFL season. And it was beyond impressive, the composure it took. But the play that happened before that play, where Georgia took the lead, was a blown coverage by Bama, and then to end up in a position to break a tackle and get in the end zone and come back from being down 28-0 to go up 34. And
to come back in that situation where you're in Bama, and you're just getting piled on because it's 28-0. That shows so much heart.
What was it? Put them up 34-33, I think it was. And then Bama went for 2 and got it to make it a 7-point game, if I remember correctly.
Let me give you the quick little list here of Alabama freshmen, though, who have torched Georgia recently. Devontae Smith had 1 catch, 41 yards, touchdown. Not as good. Julio Jones, 5 for 94 in a TD. Calvin Ridley, 5 for 120 in a TD. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 113 in a TD. Amari Cooper, 8 for 128 in a TD. And then Ryan Williams, better than all those guys, 6 for 177 in a TD.
And he was 17.
And you just that's just a few of the names on the list here.
He's with good company.
I mean, this is, we talk about the LSU receivers. Bama's been producing some big-time receivers, too, and this kid is no joke. He will be on the next level. But, I mean, Georgia, you look at a team, they are in their last 45 games, they're 42-3. All 3 losses to Bama. They've only lost to Bama. They don't lose
Kirby
to anybody
Smart
else.
Can't beat his former.
Can we just talk about, like, the SEC should just be its own league. They should separate from the NCAA and just be their own freaking league.
Somebody came up with that idea that they should just all go independent.
I think like 4 of the top 6 teams, or 5 of the 5 of the top 6 are all SEC teams, because you have Texas, you have Georgia. Georgia dropped from 2 to 5. Bama went from 4 to 1.
Oh, they went to 1 from that?
Yeah, they went to 1.
Yeah. They had to go to 1 after that.
I knew that whoever won that game last week was gonna happen.
And so Georgia was 2, Alabama was 4 when the game took place. I mean, what Georgia fall to? 5?
Yeah, 5.
So they went from 2 to 5. Alabama goes from 4 to 1.
So Texas is 2.
And when it's all said and done, they're still going to end up playing in the SEC championship game. Like, I mean, the odds of that happening is very likely.
And then even at the end of the game, just to point out too, the kid who made the interception, Brown, freshman as well.
Freshman stepping up, man.
Freshman corner. But I'm telling you, he roped the quarterback into that throw.
Oh, yeah.
He 100% did, because
he baited him.
Well, because he got beat on it once for a touchdown. They came back to it and just missed it like 2 or 3 plays earlier. And then I'm telling you, in their head, they thought, we're going to go back to that play because we scored on it once and we almost just scored on it. Why would we not go back to it again? It's working. And I guarantee you that kid kept it in his head and said, I can't wait. They're coming back to it. When they come back to it, and he went up, and I mean, the way he was just able to Because otherwise, if he don't get up and get his hands right there, that ball's going. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown.
My bad. I just keep watching.
He literally plucked it. Plucked it.
No, he baited him, but he also knew they were going to come at him, and his coach is probably like, that's good coaching, right? Like,
oh yeah,
especially at the DB position, the biggest issue DBs tend to have is the confidence, right? They get beat, and then they start playing out of what they know and out of the scheme and out of what they're supposed to do. And instead, they try to rely on just instinct, and they make bigger mistakes, penalties, things like that. That's good coaching. Props to him for keeping a strong head. And yeah, no, I mean, again, by the time I got home, Alabama is up 28-0. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to put this on. Like, I had things it was a long day. I had things I wanted to do. So I was good. I'm like, I had no need to put this on. And then all of a sudden, I take out the tweet machine and I'm like, oh, let's just search the game, see where the score is at. And I'm like, holy crap, Georgia's fought their way all the way back. And, Georgia's got the ball. So I'm like, screw this, game on. As soon as I put the game on, Georgia scores the touchdown to take the lead. And I'm like, at that point, there was only 5 minutes left in the game, something like that. So I'm like, you got to watch this. I mean, this is a great game. And then literally the next play. So great game. Hopefully we get to see these teams play each other at least one more time, maybe even twice. Because you got to figure even
possible SEC championship and then possible playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean,
12-team playoff. I'm telling you,
it's gonna be insane.
I put all my money. Both these teams are going to be in the 12-team playoff.
I mean, the world, the sports viewing world will be better off if we get to see these teams play each other again, at least one more time.
SEC football, baby, can't beat it. I mean, the house was packed.
It definitely can't, man.
It was an atmosphere there. It was, I mean, from game day being there, which was just exciting. Again, I don't know if you guys caught any at game day, but Saban had his wife there, Miss Terry.
Oh, yeah. I heard she was killing the picks.
Yeah, she did. She actually did better than Saban. She did better than a bunch of people. I think she went 6-2 or something like that in picks. Or maybe, 7-2, something like that. I think Saban went 5-4. But she was right on it, and just the applause. I'm telling you, he has more pull than the governor there.
You're right.
He's like the
he's the king
of the
king,
state.
though.
Like he's immortal there. I feel like, and they just treat him that way,
100%.
and his family. So he was literally he went home to watch the game. You know what I mean? That's. But it was really cool to see him back in the building for it. To see Kalen DeBoer, who's a new coach coming from Washington, had a ton of success everywhere he's been before Alabama. But this is a different stage.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC is a different ball game than playing in the Pac-12 or playing wherever. Even though they made a run and they made the national title with Washington last year, it's still a different league. So I wanted to see, because this was his first true test. I mean, Kirby Smart was coming into this game 1-5, left 1-6, but DeBoer didn't have a record against him. Saban had a great record against him, but that was Saban, and that was Saban's Bama. What was DeBoer's Alabama going to be? And that's where I got to see him, and I got to see what they could do with a new coach. It gave me finally a little bit of relief to be like, okay, I could breathe a little bit now. I could, because as a Bama fan, you've seen greatness for so long. You have one of, if not the greatest college coach of all time retire. You can't replace that. It's like replacing Mariano Rivera.
You hesitation.
Can't replace that. I don't care how hard you try. You're gonna have great relievers come in, but you're never gonna have another Mariano. So.
Robertson was not Mariano, bro.
No, and that's what I was worried about. Is DeBoer was going to come in and beat Saban
and somehow get out of it, David Robertson. But
that's why. But this test, he proved it, and at step one, he proved. Now he's got to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. But a hell of a job by him and his team. And it makes me excited for the rest of the season. Although, I don't necessarily love being number one so early in the year. I kind of would wish we would have built up to that a little later. But because everybody's coming for us, everybody's gunning for us.
Everyone's coming for you no matter what.
No matter what, yeah. So, and I mean, there's still tough games on the schedule. They still got to play Oklahoma. I think they still got to play LSU. They still got to play Tennessee.
Is kind of tough.
They got to play.
SEC's tough.
No, I'm saying they got top 10 opponents still to play. That it's they're gonna beat each other up though.
Exactly.
12-team playoff. I think still 3 or 4 get in. I still think you're going to see 3 or 4 at least SEC teams in.
You're not wrong. There might even be more.
There might even be more. There might even be 5. Depends on how the rest of the
That's
season
how
plays
good
out.
the league is.
But again, who would want to watch more games like this?
Exactly.
This was exciting down to the wire. This literally had intrigue. It had drama. It had second half stakes. It's not like a team where the game was real close in the first half and then somebody blew them out in the second half. By the third quarter, you could turn the game off. You don't really
That was the other way around.
This is exactly the opposite. Where people were turning the game off at halftime going, it's over.
It's
And then
over.
all of a sudden, an hour later, looking at their phone going, what the hell just happened? Let me get it back on. Let me get it back on. You know? So, I mean, he's... I hope more people watch. I hope more people get involved because this was the best football game of the weekend. We're gonna get into the NFL now, and we're gonna move on. But at the same time, I don't think there's any denying pro, college. I don't even care about a high school game. This was the best game in the country this weekend, and I mean, you guys, I'm gonna die on that hill. I don't know if you guys are dying on it with me.
Best game NCAA or NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll definitely give
I'm
you
going to
that.
have to just roll with you guys because I didn't watch a lot of football, so I'm just going to roll with you.
Is that because your fantasy teams are tanking and you just don't want to, you don't want to tune in because you just don't want to see how they're
Joey
doing?
works all weekend.
I'm busting this.
I was like,
My
Joey's
fantasy team is scared of the tortilla bets. Other than that, we're ready to ride. We're ready to rock, except for Rasheed Rice. Now I got to figure that out. But other than that, the Romanators are here to take and conquer. I just don't want to finish last this year. That was my goal. I'm 2-2. I'm in 4th. I'm chilling. I'm okay. And the other league, I just figured it out. So.
I don't even want to talk about where I'm at.
My man Eric, for all those who don't follow our fantasy leagues, he's killing it. He is 4-0, I believe, in both of our leagues that we are in.
Killing it like Jalen Milroe. I meant to mention this.
Killing it like Jared Goff killed it last night.
Well, I mean, 27-33, 491
that's
total
Jalen
yards,
Milroe.
4 TVs, 1 interception. He was killing it.
Well,
and that's why he's the front runner right now for the Heisman. But speaking of a guy, I don't think Goff ever won the Heisman. But
No, he did not win the
And by the
Heisman.
way, he has more touchdown catches now than like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Travis Kelce. There's a
Mark
few
Andrews,
other Ayuk. All these guys, he has not only more touchdowns than them, he has more touchdowns combined than them. Like you combine all of those guys' touchdowns and they won't equal what Jared Goff has.
he had an awesome game last night.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown has more passing touchdowns, I think, than Goff has, and Goff has more receiving touchdowns than he has.
Interesting. But Jared Goff, man, did something Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, all these great quarterbacks have never done before. He finished the game 18 of 18, man.
I would have been more impressed if it was over 20 passes.
Are you
I got to be honest, seeing it was only
Timeout.
18 for 18. I've seen guys go up to over like
No, you
20 for
haven't.
20 before.
No, you
No,
haven't.
before
No.
they missed. No?
Oh, to finish.
To finish a game to be
Correct.
perfect, yes. But I'm saying I've seen a guy start
Correct.
20
I
for
think
21
Rivers-
for
I think
21.
Rivers
Yeah,
has done
something like that has done that, but then like missed it and they ended up like 22 of 23 for the night or something like that.
But he finished the game perfect. 18 of 18. Perfect.
Great. No, unbelievable.
There is nothing you can take away from that.
I'm not taking anything away from it, but what I am telling you is I still doesn't make me any more impressed by Jared Goff.
Hey,
I think he's a good quarterback. Listen, I think he's great for what the Lions are doing.
Agreed.
He fits the system. He's working well. He's having success. So I'm not taking anything away from his success. But I'm gonna sit here and you mentioned guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and other
They didn't
people.
finish the game 18 of 18.
They never did. But guess what? I take any one of those guys every time over Jared Goff. So,
That
I mean,
wasn't the question, though, Eric. I was just trying to give the man props for something that has never been done in the NFL before.
Detroit looked amazing. It looked really good. Their defense, though.
Literally, they looked amazing, too. The jerseys and helmets I loved yesterday.
They were dirty. That
They were
that
cool
helmet
as hell,
was
man.
That helmet was
I thought it was awesome.
slick, dude. That
It
helmet
was
was
so cool
nice.
looking.
That helmet was
got
nice. Oh my god,
second.
that helmet was nice.
Oh, my God.
Like the jerseys were nice, but the helmet was nice.
I really liked it. They came to shine on Monday Night Football.
That helmet was nice.
And the Detroit Lions play like how I want the New York freaking Jets to play, man. They do power run it down your freaking throat with David Montgomery, and oh, we also have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's going to just take 20 yards of pop off of you, too.
I didn't realize how tough of a runner he is, though, man. He was running with some power last night.
Yes, he was,
between the tackles, I mean, he ran really well. But, I mean, that was a shootout. That was a great game. It took too damn long, though.
Part of my problem, though, is when we start out talking about the uniforms before the game, that to me is where I'm like,
dude, they were awesome.
They were great, but again, we're not talking about the game. It should be the game, not the uniform.
I thought we were just talking about the game. Did I miss the uniform?
We talked about the uniform for like 2 minutes.
I don't know. You brought
where the hell was I?
You brought it up.
Yeah.
Oh, earlier. I thought you meant during the show.
No, I'm saying right now. You just brought it up.
No, I don't.
You did too. You talked about how sweet their jerseys were.
You know what the worst part is?
Starting?
The worst part is this crap is recorded. So if you're my brain, man, I'm glad we didn't do our pregame festivities. That would be even worse right now.
Yeah. Speaking of pregame festivities, I'm wondering if he watched any of these games. I mean, we just got done talking about Alabama, Georgia. We're moving on to some NFL here. We have a Mr. Eric Pfeiffer joining us on the line.
Fife.
How you doing,
Fife? Take some control over the show, my man. Take some control.
Is he with us?
Shit, that's too much.
Is he muted?
He might be muted. But anyway, until we get him.
Oh, I thought he was with us. Is he
with
us?
So too.
I heard something.
Oh, he's in and out. Can you hear us?
All right. He'll join us when he can. I think he could hear us, so he may have something going on in the background.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
We got you,
now.
Fife.
Yeah, I'm in my apartment complex, and I don't get very good service here, so.
All right, well, if you stay right where you're at, you're going to be perfect.
I won't move.
You sound good right where you're at.
Straight
So, real quick, I mean, we just went over it. Do you have any thoughts? Were you able to catch any of the Alabama-Georgia game before we move on to the NFL here?
I caught the tail end of it. I saw the replay of that big touchdown from Alabama. I was camping, so I didn't really catch much.
Hell of a game. I know it's not your Penn State, but at the same time, I mean, if you like you said, you went back and watched the highlights or at least the videos of that game, and some of the plays that the rookie the freshman, I should say, Ryan Williams made were unbelievable. He'll be making catches on Sundays for sure. But yeah, just figured I'd get your quick thoughts on that. But then we're jumping into last night's game, talking Lions and how Jared Goff has more receiving touchdowns than most of the big paid wide receiver / offensive weapons in the league right now. Guys like Travis Kelce and Ayuk and Debo and
Trey McBride, Mark Andrews,
all sorts of guys. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's. But again, if you win, it doesn't matter who makes the touchdown. It doesn't matter who scores. In the end, it should just matter who wins. And if your team's doing that and you're happy and they're happy, then the hell does it matter? So, but I mean, Dave, I don't know if you agree with Dave. He was thinking those uniforms are pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, I texted that last night too. I thought they were fresh as hell.
There you go. Five. Let it be known. And
I just say I think that's a problem. The first thing we talk about a game is the uniforms. I feel like it's
I brought up golf first.
Where the game is going.
I brought up golf first.
You did bring up golf first. He brought up the first thing out of him was the unis.
Sorry, Five.
Well, yeah, when they walk out on the field, before they play the game, what do you see? The uniforms. We can't talk about the game yet, right?
Preach.
And they were looking good.
Listen, they're better uniforms than what our Giants are wearing. I gotta say that.
That's exactly what I thought right away.
I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't think the uniform for the Giants would be as bad. That 100th anniversary one would be as bad if it didn't have the gold pants. I think the gold pants,
they're tan, not
gold, whatever you want to call them.
Dark khakis.
Yeah, they're
khakis, 100%.
They're awful. And I think if they found a way to either do blue pants, red pants, something else, you could probably make it a better looking uniform. But those pants, whoever approved those needs to be fired.
Yeah, maybe gray too. Oh, they're funny. But anyway.
They're business. It's business casual, you know. A nice sweater.
Yeah, it's much like the Giants play, business casual. You know, we win some. It doesn't really matter.
I mean, I got to be honest. When it comes down to that Cowboys-Giants game on Thursday, I've never been more disappointed with the Cowboys win. That was just the Giants moved the ball up and down the field with no problem. They just couldn't punch it in, and Dallas still with stupid penalties still can't run the ball. The one thing that made me happy was on 24 carries, the Giants got 26 yards. So at least they did something when it came down to the run defense, but still not anything to get that I'm getting excited about. I don't know if how you walked out of that game feeling.
Like blah, I guess. I don't know. I was just happy sitting by a campfire, to be honest. I had an enjoyable experience watching it, no matter how crappy it was.
Oh, that's good.
But again, as a Giant fan, though, it's just crappy. Because just when you're starting to feel good, and you're like, oh man,
ain't like, you used to it?
Yeah, but I don't want to have to be used to it. I'm not a Met fan. I'm not one of these like people who's used to perpetually losing. I don't. That's not what I'm about.
Dude, we had what? We had 2007, 2011, some decent teams in and out of
2000
right?
was pretty good.
I mean, 2000 was pretty good, but there's always. I mean, this has been a really long one. But as long as I've been a Giants fan since I was a kid, there's always those gaps, you know.
Yeah, but we need to get out of this gap.
Kerry
To be honest, Daniel Jones.
Think about it. Kerry Collins had one good year with the Giants in 2000, but other than that, it was like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I'm saying we just talked about how Goff goes.
They got a mediocre.
We talked about how Goff was 18 for 18, and then you look at Daniel Jones.
Didn't even get the game ball.
26 of 40. You know what I mean? Like we don't have a guy who's even close to him. We don't have a Jared Goff. We got a Daniel Jones. Unfortunately, as great as Neighbors is, I mean the fact that everybody's hanging 2 losses on 2 of his drops. Like yeah, he's great and all. You can't hang those losses on him. The kid's trying to play as hard as he can. You could tell he's great.
Bro, he's getting like 40%
He's stolen
target
all
share.
the thunder from Garrett Wilson, by the way. He has stolen all of the New York Thunder.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nobody's talking about Garrett Wilson.
He's a superstar. Malik Neighbors is a superstar.
But people were thinking Garrett Wilson was a superstar.
They're overusing him.
He's good. He's not Neighbors.
But people were
They're
thinking
overusing him, and you can already see they're overusing him, and you can already see the effects of it.
Agreed with Fife on that. They're using him in
all
different situations because he's
not the only
playmaker.
Wandale's
solid.
Wandale sucks. And I was watching the game with Janice last week, and I was screaming, and she was agreeing with me. Why is that guy not heading to the bus? Why is he not on a first-class ticket out of here? Because he was dropping everything. He wasn't good. He was not good.
Slayton was dropping things. He was dropping them. But he's
Wandale
not
had
trash.
big drops. Bigger,
And he still had a good, I mean, statistically,
and he's been
he still
around
had
a
a
lot
good game.
longer than Neighbors, too. You know what I mean? So, and he's had time to work with Daniels and everything. They should be clicking if they're going to click already. Wandale Robinson is a failed experiment. He's a possible playmaker is what I would call him. I'm not calling him a playmaker. Maybe he makes a play, but maybe he doesn't. He's not a guaranteed playmaker.
He's averaging like 14 fantasy points a game right now for me. So
you got about 18 PPR.
Yeah, but in a PPR and this again,
it don't matter.
He's a PPR. He's a good PPR play.
I benched him this week just simply due to the fact I couldn't root for a Giant.
I appreciate.
I mean,
that.
I still won, but I
played CD Lamb.
I don't think you had room for
I separate that.
18 points. I think you had 100.
Yeah, I played Neighbors.
Oh, my teams in fantasy went off this week.
So.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So. To move us on, though, I mean, there's some other surprising games for the weekend. I don't know if you guys are as surprised as I am, but Caleb Williams actually showed up, played halfway decent, and the Bears actually got another win, this time actually by scoring some points, able to put up 24. Something I don't think the Giants have still been able to do, right? I think what's the most the Giants have put up? 21 maybe?
Well, you took your 18, pencil and wrote 18? It on paper. They put up. They had the 21, right? But you wrote it on paper, right? It was 28. It was 28 if you wrote it on the paper like I told you to.
Like he told you to. Come on now.
When Singletary sat down at the 1, you know what I'm saying?
Now
you want 28, write it down.
Now I got you.
Nah, you can't just
trust me.
It is what it is.
It's basically 28.
You are what your points say you are. Not what you want your points to be.
No, you are what your record says you are.
real quick, I got to go inside and I got to go back in. And I don't want to interrupt what you were talking about with Caleb Williams, but I do want to say this. You know, I don't know if you guys saw any of that Colts game. When Flacco came in, he diagnosed the defense. It was wacko for Flacco. Diagnosed the defense real fast. Played a really good football game, to be perfectly honest. He played a good veteran quarterback football game. And I want you to chew on this for a minute. The Las Vegas Raiders signed Gardner Minshew to a 2-year, $25 million deal to be their quarterback, and he can't diagnose the defense. He's hot garbage. He's hot garbage. He's hot Gardner Minshew.
He's the
garbage.
Timo, he's the Timo version of Fitzmagic.
Do you know how much Joe Flacco's making?
$3-4 million?
$3 million a year. And after he came out with the Browns last year and showed you that he can still pick apart a defense when he needs to, and you have probably the smartest wide receiver in the league on your team, wouldn't it have been smart to underpay a veteran quarterback to come in and lead your offense and see if, you know, maybe he could get Devontae to sit down in some zones and actually find him? When Devontae Adams walks on the field, he's the smartest guy on the field. Right, you have the smartest wide receiver. Aside from all his playmaking ability and everything he can do, he's a smart wide receiver. He's smarter than anyone else in the league when it comes to finding spots in the defense. So wouldn't it have made sense to just pay a guy $3-4 million to come in and throw him the ball and find him when he's open, then pay Gardner Minshew, $12.5 million a year?
And he looks like Garbaggio.
But here's what I want you to think, though.
We don't get to sit down.
Age,
I get it.
Age and health, and I think that's
age
what plays
and health,
a factor.
I get it.
So I don't think you're getting a full season.
But he's $9 million cheaper.
But again, I don't know.
He's $9 million cheaper.
I don't think you're getting a full season out of Flacco, though. Where they're going to get a full season out of Minshew. They may even get 2 full seasons out of Minshew.
I'm benching Minshew.
But
I'm just saying, dude. Flacco comes out and deals like he did. But Flacco comes out and deals like he did last year. How is this? Like, we don't get to sit down and look at this all the time, right? So hindsight's 20/20, right? But like, how does an NFL GM overlook this?
But I don't think it's an overlook. I think they look at it and they evaluate health and age, and I think they look at it and they say he's a damn near 40-year-old quarterback who doesn't have the greatest health.
39 years old.
Yeah, who doesn't have the greatest health, you know, in his recent past. So I'm going to say that more than likely, is he great for 3, 4, 5 games a season? Maybe. But if you're going to play him full past that, I think by game 8 or 9, he's questionable for the game. So
if I'm sitting down,
that's where I think that's why he's $3 million and Gardner Minshew's 12, because you're going to get 17 games out of Gardner Minshew. You may not make the playoffs, you may not do real well, but he's going to play. He's at least going to show up every day and play.
I think Flacco gives you a better shot of winning.
I do too. Term, if I'm sitting down at a table, if I'm sitting down at a table in the offseason as an NFL general manager, and I say, hey, look what this guy did with the Browns and led him to the playoffs last year after Deshaun Watson went down, or we can go and get Gardner Minshew. I think I'm just going to roll the dice. I mean, why not, dude? And if he gets hurt, he ends up getting hurt. Well, it only costs you $3-4 million. Yeah,
but then who do you have back in?
And you got the same guy who played for you last year.
But they didn't want that again.
That's why they got,
that's why they didn't want to end up but they didn't want to end up starting him again. It's the same reason that the Giants went out and brought in Drew Lock, because they don't want to see Danny. They don't want to see Danny DeVito or Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito starting again. They don't want to see it, so they're going to do what they have to do to make sure they don't see it happen. And I think that's what they did. Is so bringing in a guy like Flacco, I think at some point you were going to see O'Connell, whatever his name is, throughout the season. You're going to see him at some point, because I don't think Flacco makes a full season.
Well, I mean, we can think about that, and we can say maybe, right? But all I'm saying is,
while Anthony Richardson's out, let's see if he makes it.
He's questionable. He's got a chance to play Week 5, but we'll see what happens there. But I'm just saying, dude. Like, if I'm a GM sitting down at the table, dude, and I got a choice between a guy who led a team to the playoffs or Gardner Minshew, who could only support Michael Pittman last year and couldn't get anyone else the football, I think I'm going with the guy who's a veteran who can break down a defense at the line of scrimmage and find the smartest wide receiver in the league when he gets himself open, which Gardner Minshew obviously cannot do.
See,
he just doesn't do it fast enough for Devontae Adams.
I feel like we're agreeing to disagree, though, in a way, but in a respectful way of, I hear what you're saying, and I understand, and I would agree with you that Gardner Minshew is not as good a quarterback as Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco is a better quarterback to win this Sunday. If I had one game to win and one quarterback to start, I'm starting Flacco over Gardner Minshew. I'm with you there. But where I'm losing you is I think over the course of a season, and I think that's why they didn't sign him, is because the Raiders wanted somebody that they knew they can count on for the entire season, not just a few games to start. And I think that's where Flacco's at now. He can come in and start a few. I don't think he can go the distance, and I think that's where we're philosophically just not going to match up because you think he can possibly go the distance. I think he can't.
I'm just going to say
I think I'm rolling the dice for the discount.
I'm just going to say this. If you want to drive home the point of how weird this season has been so far, we just spent 7 minutes debating on whether we would prefer to have Joe Flacco or Gardner Minshew. Just to drive home the point of how weird this season's been in general.
Dude, and the Dolphins have already used 4 quarterbacks.
Great little exclamation point on it.
That seems like one of the most hazardous jobs in our
We appreciate you, Fife.
Appreciate you. Talk to you soon. That was the great Mr. Eric Pfeiffer joining us.
Five.
And but to go off your point here with Miami, 4 quarterbacks in, it might be one of the most dangerous jobs out there right now because they can't keep anybody healthy. They can't keep anybody in the game. And at some point, who are you going to bring in? You got to bring in somebody. And by the time you're getting to 4th string, you're talking about guys on the practice squad. You're talking about guys. You're talking about Danny DeVito level or Tommy DeVito level guys.
Maybe even Danny DeVito. At this point, I mean, come on. But also, Tua is driving home the point that it was worth giving him that contract.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the real question that I saw posted today is, does Mike McDaniel make Tua or does Tua make Mike McDaniel? There's some people that are debating whether Mike McDaniel should lose his job with what's gone on the last couple of weeks. It's like,
well, again,
I don't agree with that, but it is something that it's a fair point to be like, hey, like, how much does McDaniel help Tua compared to Tua helping McDaniel? Where I just think they have a great relationship and they know Tua knows how to execute the plan that McDaniel has, and McDaniel knows how to create a plan around what Tua does well.
And see, that's what good coaches do, though. Like, I'm sorry, Belichick, in a situation where he knows he doesn't have a quarterback to where he could sling it 25 times, he would run the ball 40, 45 times down your damn throat.
He went 10-6 with Matt Castle. That
11-5.
Just to drive home your point, that right there.
But that's what good coaches do. And Matt LaFleur won 2 games with Malik Willis. Malik Willis didn't do a goddamn thing in Tennessee.
Shows your coaching, though. It shows you believing in a system and coaching. So it's a tool effect because you also have to have players that believe in what you're doing, regardless of who's back there. Where the Jets right now are the exact polar opposite. All they have is their faith in Rodgers, and they have nothing else. Like you can clearly tell there's something going on between him and Saleh. Like they're not as copacetic as they say they are, and it's the exact opposite of like what you're talking about in Green Bay, where they could bring in a Malik Willis and he starts and wins 2 games. But why? Because they're buying into what they're doing. They're buying into what LaFleur or who is the QB there? The coach there? Is it LaFleur?
It's LaFleur.
Yeah,
but
they're
he
buying
understands
into it.
I can't do my system with Willis, so I'm gonna run one game. He ran Josh Jacobs like 35 times, and then the next game he adjusts.
There is no adjustment with the Jets. It's one
and none right now with the Dolphins
and the highway, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's the way it is, and that's the problem with the Jets right now. Because you look at it, how do they lose this game this week? I mean,
God,
as brutal a loss as you can have. You're at home. I don't even care if it's in bad weather in the rain.
I'm with you.
You're at home against a rookie QB. Mm-hmm. Your defense is supposed to be the anchor of your team. And you show up and lay an egg like that, you put up 9. You can't.
9
your
points.
Defense now, by the way, which did kind of show up because they only allowed 10 points. But your offense, led by a guy you're putting all your faith in. All of your faith. 9 points.
First and goal at the 1. And you can't get in? We're supposed to be this amazing powerful ground pound. We got Breece Hall. We're going to run it down your freaking throat.
What about Allen? Isn't he supposed to come in to be a pounder?
Why the hell didn't you put Braylon Allen in for 1 yard?
Did you guys hear Damian Woody go off?
I did not.
First Take or not First Take. What's the one with Greeny?
Wake up
or something.
Get up.
Damian Woody, I kid you not, went on like a 2.5, 3 minute because he's a former Jet, right? Like, so he cares about the team. And this man, I swear to God, it had to be 2.5, 3 minutes where he went off, and one of the biggest things he focused on was, how do you not put your rookie 238, 245
He's like 240
pounds?
They have trouble taking him down. Even when in the backfield, he gets an extra yard or two. Oh, how do you not put him in? Just pound the crap out of it.
Yeah, the Jets.
It is frustrating.
But it is funny as hell, and I'm sorry to say this, but Aaron Rodgers on the bench
with the towel,
with the hat, and so frustrating, the towel. Our boy Noose, shout out to Noose if he's out there. Our boy Noose sent us a text, and it was just the image of Rodgers in that moment, and he was just like, and this is the moment that Aaron Rodgers officially became a Jets quarterback. And I thought it was freaking funny as hell. I did.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, look, the Jets are the second team I root for. So whether I'm a glutton for punishment or what, I don't know. It's mainly due to the fact that
Dave.
I'm not rooting for the Giants, obviously, and my other closest friends are Jets fans, and then one of my other closest friends is a Steelers fan. Definitely not rooting for the Steelers because I mean they stole a Super Bowl or two from Dallas. They handed Dallas a Super Bowl according to James, but I disagree. Dallas was just the better team. But so I root for the Jets. So I hate seeing this because I'd rather them be a good team. I really would. And in the Meadowlands, it was an ugly day. But that's why you. That's why you go get a guy like Rodgers.
Somebody needs to sit Rodgers down, and somebody needs to sit Salah down, and just tell them both.
Stop it. Get some help.
Because both of you are running this Jet team, which could be a good team, has talent on it. These two, and whatever kind of weird dynamic they have, is driving this thing into the ground.
I can't say driving it into the ground yet.
Is
2-2.
Is Devontae a Jet within
The
the next
dumpster's
3
been
weeks?
lined up, and the box of matches is in my pocket. It's about to get lit.
I'm not going against what you're saying,
it's
though.
not a
Line
great
it
start.
up. It is 2-2. I was expecting a 3-1 after they shouldn't have freaking lost this goddamn game.
I don't know how they lose it.
But look,
Ugly.
Year 4 under Salah. It shouldn't be he's running the defense and you have Hackett and Rodgers running the offense. At this point, you should be a full-time head coach with the grasp of everything. And this is why you are right, and it's going to be a dumpster fire because they can't get this right.
Just to point out, bring us back to full, you know how we like to go full circle here. You're Jared Goff and 18 for 18. Aaron Rodgers missed 18 throws this week. 24 of 42.
Appreciate it.
He missed 18 throws.
I don't care how, but why are you
He
throwing
missed
the
everything
ball?
Jared Goff
Why
completed.
are you throwing the ball 42 stupid freaking times
In the rain.
In the gosh darn rain and the wind in the
Because it's what Rodgers wanted to do.
Run the ball 30, 35 times a freaking a game. Just throw the ball 20, 25
His
times.
ego
That's
won't
all
let
you
him.
got to do.
His ego won't let him
That's
at this
all
point.
you have to do.
He is without a doubt one of the most egotistical players I've ever seen.
40
in my
times
life.
in the rain. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, that was
My
rough.
cousin is going livid about this. Remember, I told you guys he's a monster Jet
Me and
fan.
him.
He was at the Jet game in the rain.
Me and your cousin had the same mentality. Play defense, run the crap out of the ball. Don't
And
do
then
nothing
let Rodgers
special.
win a game late for you if you need him
Yeah.
to. That should be the recipe.
Thursday night, he threw 35 times. This week, he threw 42 times. What the hell are we doing?
And 42 times in the rain. In bad weather. It's not like you chose the game where it was sunshine and 80 and you're playing in San Diego to light it up 42
No, you're dealing
times.
with you're dealing with the
bro.
outskirts of a
Pound.
hurricane that destroyed cities that literally aren't even on a grid right now because of the damage. And by the way, thoughts and prayers and everything to all those people that are dealing with everything that happened from that. But that we're talking about playing on the tail end of that hurricane. So, and MetLife Stadium is known for how it becomes a wind tunnel. That was one of the things people gave Eli so much credit for, right?
Yeah.
His ability to throw in MetLife Stadium. He got comfortable. He knew how to do it. He knew how to feel it out. And Rodgers has no idea what the hell he's doing. And that was a horrible, horrible called game. That was a horrible played game on offense. I mean, geez, like 3 field goals. I mean, they still had a chance to win. Greg DeLeg shanks it. I mean,
and I can't even be mad at him. It's a 50-yard field goal in the pouring. It wasn't pouring, but it was in the rain. It rained all day. Will Lutz just missed a 50-yarder. You got to get him closer. Don't go rely on a 50-yard field goal. But the last thing I want to say about this, which really pisses me off too, the Jets are the first team to lose a game where a quarterback throws for 60 yards. It's the first time all century that it's happened.
did he really only throw for 60 yards?
He threw for 60 yards.
Yeah, Bo
And
Nix
they
did not
lost.
light him up by any means, but at the same time, he did throw his first NFL touchdown.
Yes, he did.
Which
60
he
yards.
almost sailed over his wide open wide receiver. I mean, he had his guy. His guy had to like fully extend over his head, push the tippy toes down, and just catch the ground. I was like, dude, he was standing there wide open. What are you like? What throw was that?
Hey,
Like,
he got it to him.
how are you starting at it? Oh my god.
He's a rookie. But listen, he's 2-2.
No, he is 2-2.
So, and I mean, and listen, the one thing I'll
Hey,
say about
Tebow
Rodgers
made the
is at least
playoffs
he
one
found
year.
at least he found Mike Williams on
And
the
won
field
again.
now. At least he figured out where he was. So, I mean, I'll say that's a positive for Rodgers. But
did the Jets go after Devontae Adams?
of course, because Rodgers
There's a
is sitting
bunch of
there telling
teams.
him, "You're going to go get me Devontae Adams," or I'm gonna,
GM Rodgers.
GM Rodgers
guys
is
should
going
go
out and
after
getting
Jerry
Devontae.
won't do it.
Cowboys should.
Jerry's
the
too
Jets
cheap.
should. The Bills should.
The Chiefs should.
Chiefs won't. It's division. They're going to have to give
Well,
up
the
an arm
Chiefs
and a
will
leg.
probably try, but the Raiders will jack up the price. The other team I heard, which I thought was a really interesting one, was the Ravens.
Yes, they.
I thought that was
100%
a
should.
really being able to put him with a guy like Trey Flowers, like not only
Zay?
Zay Flowers, not only to be able to take some of the pressure off of Zay
They need a home run.
Flowers, but like to have him be able to mentor Zay Flowers too. I mean, that's
crazy.
another thing, right? Like, but I think overall,
Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry things, by the way, there too. With the Ravens.
I
See
mean,
what happens when you give him the ball 24 times.
and Jerry
Jerry
was asked after the Ravens smacked Dallas around. I don't care that Dallas lost by 3. The Ravens owned them that game. That game.
Oh, yeah,
was
that's
way,
right.
like,
He's like, we couldn't afford him.
We
right?
couldn't afford him.
Couldn't afford him.
We couldn't afford him. Dallas is 30th in the league in rushing yards per carry. They're 31st in the league in rushing yards per game. You're going to pay Trey Lance to be your third string emergency quarterback. You're going to pay him $5 million because you want to prove yourself right that he was worth trading a 4th round pick for. Cut his ass. Now you got the money. Like, oh my God.
I'm with
They
you.
re-signed Dak. They re-signed CD. So overall, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to bitch more about it. But you knew that game was a problem for Buffalo on the first play.
87 yards to the house.
You knew it was a problem for Buffalo on their first play, and Baltimore never looked back.
I think I might have to put it in. I know they started 0-2, and I didn't like Baltimore. Now that they're feeding Derrick Henry, and you got the run game between him and Lamar, they just need, if they could add a Devontae, I think I'm putting a Super Bowl bet on them before they added Devontae to take them to a next level.
It might.
I think I'm doing it. Honestly,
You
when I
guys
get
heard me
home.
talk him up. You guys heard me for a
yeah.
while talking him up. I love the addition of Henry because I thought it gave him that
I did
two-headed
too.
monster.
Through
I thought
2 weeks, I was scared, though. I'm not going to lie.
But again, I think, and then it opens things up, and then you add a receiver like Devontae. Now you can't stack the box, and if
That
you
would be
do,
so
God
dirty.
forbid, you're gonna
Dirty.
do a hot route or something. and all
You're
of a sudden,
you're gonna really put your defense in a rough spot.
But there's one more game I wanted to bring up from this week because I saw it as another rookie QB who absolutely excelled, had his best
Killing
day
it.
for sure. But that's Jaden Daniels, and he is looking at early rookie of the year stuff with what he did this week against the Cardinals. They're off to a 3-1 start. Washington may not be a team to sleep on because if he turns out to be a good quarterback, And then they have a kind of a couple-headed monster there. If they can get Brian Robinson Jr. running, and they can get Akers going, or is it
Eckler's hurt though right now.
Well, he had the
I'm just saying,
concussion.
but
I think isn't that why he missed last week? Was a concussion. So,
yeah, so I mean, but
you should expect him back this.
Then you have McLaurin, and you have they have some weapons there, and if they can play good defense,
Zach
they could be in
Ertz
trouble.
has been a nice security blanket for him too.
Absolutely, but I mean, hell, they kicked the crap out of Arizona this week in Arizona.
Yeah.
The one stat I heard though from the Commanders, which is ridiculous, which tells you how good this rookie's playing. They have more scoring drives than incompletes on the whole season. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and they've only punted the ball once in the last 2 games. No, that offense is playing at a high efficiency. And I will say this, though. You got to remember, too, Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator for Washington. That was his return back to Arizona after being fired.
I didn't even realize that.
So I think the players really had a little extra motivation. With that said, Washington at 3-1 has shown that they through the first 4 weeks of the season, right now they're the best team in the NFC East.
Right now,
through the first 4 games of the year, through the first month of the season, they are no ifs, ands, buts about it. Are the best team in the NFC East, and that makes me miserable to say, but that's the reality of it.
You're not wrong. Through the first 4 weeks, they are. The other thing too about Cliff Kingsbury, I think he's gonna love Jaden Daniels more than he did Kyler. Kyler is a short quarterback. He couldn't.
You have to create windows when you
Jaden Daniels is a legit NFL quarterback and who can run, and Cliff Kingsbury is going to have a lot of fun with him.
Well, I mean, Eric, you mentioned rookie of the year right now through the first 4 weeks. Who's taking him for MVP right now through the first 4 weeks?
Damn, that's.
No, they're not going to give it to a rookie. They're not. The NFL will not do that. The guys that vote for MVP will not do that.
Sam Darnold right now.
I gotta think of Sam. I would say,
but I'm just saying,
talk about as crazy years we had. Like you brought up before, like look at it, it's so crazy. We're debating Flacco and
Minshew, and
we're also talking Darnold for MVP.
And Darnold for MVP. So Geno Smith, even though they lost last night, was another guy. I mean, 2 ex-Jet quarterbacks. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but what Washington's done through the first 4 weeks is nothing short of impressive.
Absolutely.
And I will also say this, just to touch on the Eagles. I've said I will die on this hill. And I feel like as we've gone through not only the first 4 weeks, but we go back through the last, I believe, 5 or 6 games last year, Jalen Hurts has 9 games in a row with at least 1 turnover. He has 27 or 22 turnovers in his last 18 games, I think it is. So if you go back to where their downfall started last year at the midway mark of the season, nobody has more turnovers than Jalen Hurts. The Eagles are, I believe, 6 games under 500 in that span as well.
2-2 to start this year, though. So they're still 500.
But no, I am including the 2-2 start this year.
No, I know, but I'm just saying this year though they are 2-2. So
yeah,
not,
and if it wasn't for an amazing play call against the Saints when Goddard got open for what led to the game-winning score for them against New Orleans, they'd be 1-3. It was an amazing play call. They saw the man coverage. They ran
the Saquon catch. If he catches the ball, they beat the Falcons.
If he catches the ball, they beat
that's why everything's a game of inches.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, the Eagles to me, and then
I got exactly
worse than anything, Darius Slay leaves the game due to an injury this week, and then is on Micah Parsons' podcast yesterday talking shit about his own team. The Eagles are going to unravel, and I am going to bask in the glory of it when it happens.
I agree with that.
I can't wait till I no longer have to see Nick Sirianni on a television. He has the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life. I've never looked at a man and genuinely said to myself, I think if I saw him in public, I would just deck him in the face. And I am far from a violent person. Like, extremely far from it. But every time I see that man's face, I just want to punch him. What are the graphics behind my head? Did you just see that?
No.
No.
Dude, there's things exploding. It's got if I just saw that correct, either that or somebody call 911 because I am seeing shit. But that was crazy. I definitely think I just saw some
Yeah,
boom,
no, you did.
boom, fireworks,
did,
bro.
fireworks.
I'm not kidding.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea, but thank God, because if that didn't just happen, y'all were calling 911 because my brain was playing some tricks and I would need medical attention. Because like I'm hungry. You guys know how I get. Once we break that 8 o'clock, I'm like, guys, I'm like 8 hours without food. I am starving. So I'm like, we may need to call 911 and get an ambulance here. Thank God that just happened on the delay on the actual broadcast.
What was that?
It was fireworks.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I think maybe from my clapping. I don't know. I don't know.
And then I don't know if something just.
I don't know. I will say this though: if we are going to continue to test it out, I say the podcast ends first. So keep going.
We
with the
can't end
podcast.
without doing some picks.
Oh no! I'm not saying end the podcast. I'm saying, but we
quick,
keep the live stream going after.
Maybe somebody hit the like button.
Jaden Daniels is minus 140 for Rookie of the Year. Malik Neighbors is plus 300, and for MVP through 4 games, which is stupid. Mahomes is plus 300, but he's 4-0. Josh Allen plus 350. He shouldn't even.
And they're
be
going
involved.
based off of last week's game when they scored 6 touchdowns.
Jaden Daniels is plus 2,500, and Sam Darnold is plus 1,300.
I would definitely right now. I would have Sam Darnold above Mahomes.
I would probably go Lamar again. He's plus 700.
No. Anywho, so no, I agree. I wasn't trying to say let's end it, but I was going to say if we're going to clap and see if that causes fireworks on the live stream, I don't think those that might be listening to our podcast want to hear that. So
That's incredible.
That's listen, man. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it. You know,
I'm just glad we don't need to call 911.
Me too.
I was genuinely. I was like, bro, am I seeing?
Hey, maybe we're doing good things.
I don't know.
Maybe somebody hit that like, subscribe, follow, share. Maybe they did one of those things, free things for us.
That thing that we
and
asked
it alerted us. I don't know. So, but we're gonna
Was
keep
it
that.
you, Louie? Was it you?
We're gonna keep the fireworks going here with this. I gotta bring up the first game because we were just talking Jets for a little while. Jets
London.
at Vikings in London. Do you have any faith in this team to beat a very hot Vikings team? Because weirdly enough, I look at this as a game that I
feel like this is a trap game for the Vikings.
Exactly.
That's what I feel
that's
like.
what I think.
They have a farther trip.
Well, who?
And they feel like they're catching the Jets on a low, so they may not be preparing as hard. I think it's a good time for the Jets to catch them here and make them 4-1. The Jets go back to 3-2. People start talking about them again positively, and maybe it turns
and let's not
some things
forget,
around.
Aaron Rodgers really never had problems with the Vikings while he was in Green Bay.
He owned the Bears, though.
Oh, he owned
He owned the Bears.
He came out and publicly stated to the
I'm your
fans
dad.
after scoring a touchdown that he owns them. Like he owns.
I think
them.
he said the words, "I'm your daddy."
Oh, he did, and then he did the belt.
Yeah.
He hasn't done the belt all year this year, though. At least I don't think he has. So that's another thing. But if we're gonna start there,
Minnesota has a bye week next week.
I bet you the Jets have a bye as well.
No, they don't.
No,
They decided to take it later in the year.
they have the far. Maybe also Minnesota has the farther trip. I mean, if we're picking that game, give me the Jets. I think Minnesota's got to come down to earth a little bit.
They play Buffalo next week. The Jets.
And yeah, give me the Jets. Just for the hell of it, give me the Jets.
Minnesota's only a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, they are technically playing at a neutral
site,
location, so that should be a pretty legit line. I actually like the over of 40 here. I think both offenses can score. I think if we talked about it, I think this could be a little bit of a trap game for Minnesota. I think it could be a get-right game for the Jets. And to be honest, if the Jets want to get their season back on track, the best way to cancel out a bad loss with a good win, this would be a good win because prior to the season, you looked at this game as a win as is. So this is a game I kind of look at, you got to win because you can't lose to Denver and then lose to Minnesota and then all of a sudden think that you're going to start rebounding back, when from a losing record. I think they got to stay on the positive side of things. I think for team morale and just the sanity of anybody at, one Jets drive over there, I feel like they have to.
They got to get Garrett Wilson more involved. They've got to.
He's regressed, to be honest. Under Rodgers, he hasn't looked as good as he's looked with other QBs. And it's sad to say because he should be a talent. He came out of college highly touted. He looked really good.
And
it seems
really
like,
bad
it seems like
quarterbacks.
the common denominator here all comes back to Rodgers.
Yeah, I agree.
But Garrett Wilson's going to want big money. Are the Jets going to give him big money? I don't know, especially if he doesn't perform. And now Lazard gets all the touches. What are you going to do? And next thing you know, if he brings in his buddy Devontae.
Oh, Garrett will. Oh, man.
What are you going to get? You might as well just. They're not going to do anything with Garrett. So, but, Joey, where are you going with this game?
Dead ass. I'm going Vikings.
Really?
Joey is so done with the Jets right now.
At this very
At a
moment,
2-2 start, he's done with it.
That's how I felt after the freaking.
I'm not done with the
game.
Jets, but Vikings are playing a lot better than I originally thought they would be at the beginning of the year. The defense is playing great, to be honest with you. I think they're going to get after Rodgers and cause a little havoc. I see them winning like 23-13, something like that.
So you don't think the Jets offense gets up off the floor?
Nah, man.
This is where I think they bounce back a little bit. So I'm going to agree with Dave. I think this is a bit of a trap game for the Vikings, and I actually am going to take the Jets here. So we got 2 with the Jets, 1 with the Vikings. This is going to be an interesting game, but I got to tell you, it's one I'm not waking up at 9:30 a.m. for.
No, hell no.
Now, Joe, you might find a way to stream it somewhere at 9:30 a.m., but I got to be honest, like it's 9:30 on a Sunday.
It's on NFL
I'm getting up, but I'm not turning on football that early.
NFLbite.com. That's how you stream it. NFLbite.com. BITE. One word.
For anybody else out there that wanted to know that.
There you go.
I've been using that site for like 4 years. This is the first year I haven't used it because I splurged the extra $15 a month for Red Zone.
Red Zone's awesome.
Red Zone's just heaven on earth. It really is.
Janice doesn't get it because she's like, as somebody who doesn't watch football all the time, she can't understand it. She's like, well, wait a second, wouldn't you? Well, why aren't they staying on that game? Why do they bounce to this game? She's like, it's too. She's like, I feel like I have ADD watching this. Like, she's like, I'm all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's pretty much who it was created for. Was people with ADD and fantasy football.
Football, but I love it because I'm like, just show me the action.
Yeah.
This team's in the red zone, great. I want to see it. That team's in the red zone, great. I want to see it. Give me the Octo Box. I want to see it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
see, that's how when I had the DirecTV and I had all 8 boxes. Everybody that would come over to the house would drive them nuts, and I'd be like,
I hated the 8
I go watch all 8 boxes. No freaking problem, baby. Let's go. Whatever box has the red around it, that's the sound. Just stare. You'll be fine. Everybody else hated it, and I was like, 8 boxes, all 8 games. Let's go.
Maybe if I had the controller, I would like the 8 boxes, but no.
That could be part of it. Well, Joey, you put I'm assuming that's the game you're going with, the one in the middle right there.
No, but if you want to take it, you can. I was gonna go a different way, but.
No. Let's let you pick your game next, and then.
Well, I'm gonna go next then because I'm not gonna. If you're gonna,
I thought you went with Jets, Minnesota.
I thought that was you.
No,
you said the first game.
We're calling that one Fife said.
All right,
Eric, go ahead.
I'm calling that one Fife because I see another one here, and I'm like, how do we not talk about this? Because we talked about both teams tonight. The Raiders at the Broncos, 405.
Oh,
that's Fife. No, that is Fife's. That is the shit show of the week,
That
dude.
should be the shit show.
That
so
is
fine,
the shit
I'll take
show.
the other game. This is shit show. But at 2-2, both teams are 2-2. Both shit shows. But which shit show is going to come out on top? The Broncos have found interesting ways to win. Again, throwing for 60 yards, but finding a way to win. Defense is playing great. The Raiders, again, finding ways to win some games, but don't look great themselves. Who knows what's going on with Devontae? Does he want to trade? Doesn't he want to trade? Is he going to play? Is he not going to? Who knows what's going on there? This game, to me, has a lot of intrigue because both teams are better than I thought they should be.
Interesting. There you go.
Like, I don't think either of these teams should be 2-2. Like,
No.
0-4 maybe, but they're not 2-2. And the fact that they're both 2-2, I don't think they're both.
The Raiders beat the
Ravens.
Ravens, bro.
But that was again preseason.
No,
Like,
I
that's
guess
what I call.
you mean
That's what I call
I got
preseason
you, I
now.
got
Like,
you.
first
I got
4
you.
weeks of the season are preseason.
You
now.
definitely noticed this past week, offenses were definitely getting more on track this week.
Oh, yeah.
There was definitely better ball movement. I mean, hell, I had one fantasy team almost scored 200 points. I had two of my fantasy teams broke 180.
Mets won 8-4.
In the one in the dudes league, I'm 4-0. I think I'm like second in points, maybe third in points. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
kills
pretty
me in dudes
consistent.
league. So this week was very helpful.
I know it's great.
Points.
Dudes league, I'm 2-2, but I'm first in points somehow.
I think I'm only like 6 points behind you.
5. I think 5. That's it.
Well,
So-
for Broncos Raiders, I'm going to. I'm just. Both teams suck. I'm going to take the home team. So give me Denver, and that's literally my reasoning. That's it. That is my reasoning.
See,
Give me Denver.
I'm gonna go a little old school here, and I'm gonna go for my dad. The Raiders.
The Raiders.
Give me Minshew. Give me that team version of Fitzmagic to come up with a win here. Whether Devontae plays or not, again, I think Bach Bowers is gonna come on as a really good rookie as well. He's been getting some looks. Zamir White has been
awful.
Not great.
Awful. They're going to give Madison more touches.
But I don't think this game is going to be super high scoring either. So I imagine somewhere like 20 to 16, like 20 to 17 type score. And give me the Raiders on the road in the divisional game.
And I'm going to go with Dave. I'm going to take the Broncos home. I like Sean Payton over Antonio Pierce. I think he'll have some sort of game plan and get it done, because he got it done last week against the Jets.
At least Joey has a real reason. I'm like, I'm just going to take the home team because honestly,
better coaching.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
So
this
what game you got? What game you got?
I mean, look, there's a part of me.
Yeah, somebody wants that Bills Texans game.
No, because Joey said he's not going to take it. And
someone wants Seahawks Giants. I feel like I don't know why.
Yeah, let's go Bills Texans. That should be a shootout. That should be a fun game. That should be another big game for my boy Nico.
This game right here. This is.
I don't want to talk about that game. That game's not.
Joey
good. That's going to be that's going to be such an ugly game.
If he wasn't going there.
Yeah, no, Bills Texans. I think that's going to be a shootout. I think offensively, both teams have been playing some pretty damn good football for the most part. Bills looking to rebound again after the loss to the Ravens. Texans looking to look a lot better than they did this past week as well. Playing in Houston, I believe, Eric. Can you just confirm that for me? They're playing in Houston?
In Houston.
So you're putting Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud in a dome.
They got Buffalo favored.
I
one by one.
I like this matchup. I think this is a fun matchup. And not to mention, for a Week 5 game, we could be looking at a game that could have some huge implications when it comes down to playoff standings at the end of the year. So I'm going to go with Buffalo on the road, getting a close win in a very tight game. And main reason I'm taking Buffalo is because they got embarrassed by Baltimore, and I think they're going to come out with a real chip on their shoulder to really prove themselves against a team that most expect to win their division. And be competing in the playoffs for a potential Super Bowl run. So give me Buffalo. I think they're going to come out with a chip and play hard.
And that's where I'm going the opposite from you, Dave. I'm taking the home team. I'm going to take the Texans. They play well at home. They're 2-0 there. I like their defense a little more. The Bills kind of exposed themselves last week. Maybe Mixon comes back this week for the Texans and just gives it to him like Derrick Henry gave it to them. Even if not, you still got Nico Collins. You got the revenge game for Stephon Diggs. So I'm going Texans over Bills.
Forgot about that.
I'm going the other way.
So did I till I just was.
I'm going with Dave. Actually, I think this is one of those games where the Bills are going to have a bit of a chip getting beat the way they got beat this week. They're not going to want to go through two of those. I know the Texans are good at home. I agree with Dave. I think it could be a close game. But I tend to lean Bills here. I think this is a game they go on the road. They show they can win a tough one, and they start to take a hold on that AFC East is what I think. Because with the Jets falling to 2-2, possibly 2-3 after this week, depending on what happens in that Vikings game, the Bills could, if they can go in there and win this game, they could cement themselves already early in the year as the team to beat in the East. So, give me the Bills.
Nice. All right.
And, yeah, I think you got to take that last game, Joe.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Look, the only thing I'll say to you about that game and why I don't think it's truly worth picking is you got to remember Dallas's two best defensive linemen are out.
They're going to win this game.
Are you serious?
Are you serious? The Steelers are not that good. We all agree that they're coached up. They are a team that plays by system. Up. They're very good. Because Tomlin is very good.
What are the two things the Steelers can do?
They play defense and run the ball. I don't care.
So more importantly, they can rush the passer. J.J. Watt is going to TJ Watt. Man, I'm aging myself real quick. TJ Watt is going to wreak havoc amongst the Dallas Cowboys tackles. Dallas can't stop the run, especially against a read option.
We don't gotta pick it. What we gotta do then is a tortilla slap on. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Don't take that.
I'm taking them straight up.
This tortilla slap bet.
I'm taking them straight up.
Against your own team.
I'm taking the Cowboys. Come on. If you're that dead set, because I can't believe you're even saying that.
I am not adding insult to injury.
No, exactly.
Okay?
No.
I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm not taking a tortilla bet.
Why? The streak's been broken. He broke the streak already.
Not taking a tortilla bet.
Streak is not broken. Well,
It is broken. It is broken. I lost.
He looks shocked.
I am owed a tortilla slap from Joey. He is going to be slapping me next week, maybe the week after, whenever he decides to choose
So
it.
if I pick Pittsburgh and they win, I slap you.
Yeah.
If Dallas wins, you get to slap me.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I genuinely just don't. I just think Dallas is going to get ran over and not be able to protect Prescott. I just don't see it happening.
And you
guys are great.
All right, so
Joey, what is our last game?
Yeah.
I'm going 1 o'clock.
Stomach's growling.
I'm going NFC, AFC North battle. We got the Bengals. We got the Ravens.
Okay.
The Bengals are starting to figure it out. They always start slow with Burrow. I don't know why they do, but they just happen to. So I want to see what happens here. Do the Ravens bury the Bengals, make them 1-4, and I do. I think they do that. It took a couple games, but the Ravens are back being the Ravens. They're playing great D. They're running the crap out of the ball, and I think Derrick Henry bulldozers over the Bengals for 2 more tutties, and they get the win. Dave, what are your opinions on that?
I actually think you're spot on. I think Baltimore goes in there, runs all over Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, even in their 1 win, didn't look good. In their 3 losses, they really haven't looked good. Burrow got lucky as hell and escaped a serious injury this past week when his offensive lineman stepped on his leg. I don't know what it is about Cincy, but this is just not a good year for them so far, and I think that continues with Baltimore at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
See, I'm gonna make it a clean sweep, and I'm gonna pick Baltimore, but I'm not gonna be surprised if the Bengals win this.
I won't be either,
because the Bengals, they're down. But again, to me, this is preseason. Jamar Chase, because of his contract stuff, didn't do anything with the team. Burrow coming back from injury. They weren't right and ready week 1 to start playing. They're not right and ready at week 4 to start playing, and that's why they just started to play a little bit better. That's why they were barely able to beat a Carolina Panthers team, which most people believe.
Hey, don't sleep on Andy Dalton, baby.
They beat
Carolina.
Did they beat Carolina?
They beat Carolina.
Okay. So
this past week.
Yeah. So who did Dalton light up then? Because he didn't light up the Bengals.
He lit up the Raiders, I believe.
Okay. Either way, I as much as I think this could be a get-right game for the Bengals, I just don't see the Ravens slipping to 2-3. I think the Ravens go up from here. I don't think they go back down. I think they get better and better. I think Cincinnati's going to be better in this game. I expect it to be close, only a 2.5-point line. Over-under is 50.5, and I look at that as I could see the over. I could see it because I think if the Ravens run all over him, and since he's got to throw the ball to catch up, and Jamar Chase comes down with a couple, next thing you know, this game could easily be, 31-27. You know what I mean? Like, you could see that kind of game here. I think the Bengals are going to show up a little bit more at home as well. They're already 0-2 at home. I don't think they're going to want to go 0-3. Nobody wants to start a season like that.
No, they don't.
So I think they're going to come out fired up, but I still think the Ravens are just going to have too much. I think they're going to control too much of the clock because of the run game. And I think that the Bengals are just going to run out of time and opportunity. So give me the Ravens to, take this game and
clean sweep
the week. But yeah, I think that's about going to wrap it here for us, fellas.
Sweet. Wow, that was a long one today.
That was an hour 38 on the record, but then we're probably another 5 before that.
I'm so hungry.
So, but before you eat the microphone, why don't you tell people where you can like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the fun things for either Die on This Hill on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, any of your favorite podcasting apps of choice. You can follow me at The Living Legend on X. You can follow Louie, our unofficial 4th/5th co-host here. You see him all over. He's actually staring at us on the computers as well. And yeah, follow him at Louis Aussie Dude on Instagram. Follow me at The Living Legend on X. Follow at Die on This Hill everywhere else. Like I said, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, everywhere. Until next time, Joey, where can they find you? Because I believe they can find you on Instagram. By the way, you did have an X Twitter account at one point because I have you as like
Sports Zone.
Yeah, it's like Joey D Sports Zone, something like that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, you have one. But anyway, I know you're on Instagram more. And why don't you tell the people what the Instagram is?
That is Joey.47. Again, I'm terrible at Instagram, so I apologize to all of our listeners because hopefully we can get some clips up there eventually.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm gonna get it working.
We'll get some tortilla slaps up there because I'm sure we have those. So.
Plus, I want to do our picks. I figure I could do each pick too.
Hey,
Segment the picks out. Little things like that. We got more things coming. All
in the future.
Things are coming.
Coming in the future.
So like, subscribe, and follow now, and don't miss out.
Yeah. Where can they follow you?
D Hastings 23 on Instagram, David Hastings 23 on Twitter, also known as X.
And until next time.
Oh my God, here he is with the chipmunk voice again.
Until next time, don't be afraid to have an opinion.
Janice, if you leave this man, we understand.
Die on this hill with us.
Janice, if you leave him, we understand.
Who'd want to leave this sexy mess?